gamer.
Real quick. Test. Okay, yeah. Sounds on. Alright. So yes, where we last left off, you guys were traveling down the road in the forest after you guys had that encounter with the massive vines and the tree person to come across a big tree that had been felled and making kind of difficult to continue, which you guys stopped, investigated the scene, found that there is a truck on the other side of that tree that had crashed into it, and then you guys got attacked by...
Well, we were halfway through a long rest and we got attacked.
Yeah.
True, Dyabie.
Everyone remembers this, right?
And Saru sadly perished in that fight, and
No!
Yeah.
Rip.
No!
alright, so you guys, and we literally finished last session right at the end of that fight, so you guys can do some after fight dialogue if you want.
Wait, did we end up getting our long rest? No, right? Because it was too short.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Well, I guess we got a long rest. Well,
You guys, before the fight, you guys were talking about cutting the tree up so you can pass through it.
We're waiting till morning though.
Yeah, because Cable's tired.
He's asleep.
Yeah, it's a very big tree.
But do we just do the same thing where we just like sleep and then we're like the sentries again? And then,
Yeah.
Alright, I guess we're just gonna do that again.
Just finishing it up.
Alright, so after you guys get attacked, you decide that
Everybody's
the...
like, still in
What
the
were they? Were they
pajamas.
Dultonians? Just covered in mushrooms?
Yeah.
Yeah, they appear to be like Dultonian soldiers, just in this kind of fungus, mushroom, mold kind of thing. They're not really possessing bodies anymore, or at least their bodies kind of been overtaken by this.
Did they count as undead?
Do you use your divine sense, or are you just examining them?
Oh, I think divine sense senses elemental as well, so it wouldn't tell me if they're undead.
Hmm.
That's what I was wondering what they were.
It doesn't differentiate.
Divine sense, celestial fiend, or undead. Oh no, it doesn't do elemental. Yeah, I'll use divine sense. Are they undead?
They are undead. It's not
They
a...
are undead.
If you could give undeath a like natural, like it's not like a magical undead, like they weren't like
Yeah.
raised from the grave, like something is something else is...
It's like those zombie parasites on bugs.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, did any of the soldiers have anything on them, or they're just decrepit?
They have a little bit of money on them each, but
Oh
you-
yeah.
You-
Yeah, probably not enough to matter.
yeah, well, I mean, you take like some of them, like the growth has like tore through the clothes or started affecting the clothes, like some like you pull out and like the money is soggy and
Yeah,
Okay.
I want it.
Soggy money.
soggy money.
That's why our money's better than yours, because ours is plastic, not actual paper.
As well as like
Can survive the washing machine.
pulling out like a wallet and then just
Survive the washing machine.
throwing it away.
Yeah, but not very well.
They're made of the paper's made of cotton.
Oh, they're cotton now. I always thought that was like
no, that's
actual
kind of
paper.
how they always are. They're like, I should fucking know this because we went to the mint place like 2 years ago, but I mean they survive the washer and stuff just fine. They just kind of turn into very soft, cottony like material. You know, just don't fucking shred it. That's also illegal.
Yeah.
So I don't know why you're doing that in the first place.
Yeah, no, ours is actually even really hard to tear.
Alright,
So
so
there's nothing of
Hakku
worth
just
on them.
passed out.
yeah.
He's been
He's
down
like-
twice since the last long rest, so he's
Yeah,
a sleepy
yeah.
boy.
I mean, everyone's probably already like still in their pajamas. We just like go right back to bed.
Oh yeah, yeah. You got Thelnier butt flat.
Yeah,
No trash can lid yet, but butt flap, yeah.
They tried to attack him, and then they were like,
Trash can lid. What?
actually, I don't want to touch him.
What the heck? You actually have pajamas, Dragon?
Ooh.
What do you mean no?
That's American.
Huh?
No, you're in
Wait, what?
pajamas right now. You're in pajamas. Like, look down.
Like
Yeah, but Dragon isn't
What
a
do you mean?
Dragon isn't a VRChat cat girl.
No, but he
No,
also
Don
made
he is
use
now.
of a butt
No,
flap.
that's a Oriental job.
Are you gonna be like disguise self? I wear pajamas. I'm a small VRChat cat girl now.
Is that what happened to Ariantis? He felt bad for all the cats and went to go genetically engineer a cat girl?
Yeah.
Wait, I like him again. Invented cat girls.
The
Yeah.
cure is turning everyone into a cat person.
If by turning one into a cat person you mean killing them first and then raising their bodies and then maybe planting some dead cat ears on them.
Yeah, now we're talking.
Okay, yeah, let's not talk about that.
Yeah, so you guys,
Are we able to finish a long rest?
yeah, you finish a long rest.
Yeah.
We got
Uh,
sleeps.
I'll
Um,
get up bright and early and start to try and break apart the log.
The,
okay, so you guys wake up.
I can't use my fist though, so I'm just gonna use Radiant Sunbolt to try to burn through it.
wait, why can't you use your fist?
I don't want to get split.
luckily when you guys
You're a monk. That's what
when you
do.
guys finish your long rest, you look around and
Pew pew.
and the forest has not burned down, though there are
Yeah, that's good.
large patches of forest where a fireball may have happened.
That was a very real concern.
Wonder who could have done that.
That's it. We're eating you to the next dimension.
How long would it take us to like just chop up the tree?
It wouldn't be the
Move
first
it.
time.
Just a couple
Um,
He
hours?
said a couple hours.
Yeah, a couple hours.
Chip chop, chip chop.
Especially
Car.
especially if you have the villagers help you like
Yeah,
move.
get the lazy villagers to do something.
So
they don't have
they
any tools. They just have to punch the tree, like the rest of us.
No, I'll
I
give
mean,
him my
that's good
hatchet.
training. Go punch the tree, play Minecraft.
go Minecraft this tree up.
You only give like one of them a hatchet. You know, the rest of them.
Yeah, I
punch it.
got a hand axe, so I can give him a one. And then I think Thelnier's got a hand axe.
I mean,
There's no
I'm
way
not
we have
giving
enough
them my
axes.
hand axe. I'll use it
Okay,
myself.
also-
Yeah, you can use it yourself if you want.
Yeah,
I have fire.
good exercise.
No fire.
You guys
Oh,
get
acid. You've got an acid
burn the
cantrip.
tree?
Well, that wouldn't be faster than chopping it up. Burning a tree.
No, yeah, it'd take pretty long to burn through.
as you guys continue working at this tree, a lot of you are using tools. As like you like break pieces of the tree down, the villagers like take it and they like throw it into the forest. One of the villagers is like trying to find little, saplings and move them into the burned area so it doesn't look like you guys,
Aw.
just destroyed part of the forest.
Wait, the forest is trying to
So
kill
it
us.
doesn't look
Why would
recent.
be nice to the
Couple
forest?
pieces into logs to take with us.
Oh, true.
Good idea.
All right, so you guys collect some of the wood.
Oh, I know where we are. We're in Russia. Because in Russia, tree chop you.
Make a perception check.
Which is just everyone a general perception
Yeah,
check, or
Yeah, everyone in general.
Oh heck.
I don't perceive jack shit.
16 for Hakku.
You got
Or
4.
20. I got a 20.
11.
20.
I can see so much clearly with all
21.
this wood in the way.
19.
Damn, we all hella perceptive.
23.
Sorry, me, I rolled
We're
a 4.
bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
You guys are getting pretty close to chopping this tree out of the way. When you see,
The perception was just to look at the tree.
yeah, that's a good tree. It's like it's one of those like bleeding sycamore trees where like when you chop it, like the sap is red, so it looks like it.
It's blood everywhere.
You
Awesome.
you guys are chopping this tree apart,
I
and
wanted to ask Cable to see if there's any fuel in that other truck.
he's already like kind of siphoned out what he can. He like starts like looking through the other truck and like is taking like
Parts and stuff.
parts and stuff like that. Swaps the tires out and all that just in case.
I thought you said swabs the tires.
Swabs.
Like some CSI shit.
Yeah, he swabs the tires. He's getting that real deep clean in there. He's got a Q-tip. But as you guys are doing this, you guys notice that there is another figure kind of walking towards you from.
Oh no, it's another tree.
It seems to be not. It doesn't look.
It's moving like a normal human.
No, it's not moving like a normal human. It is like
Oh, no.
it's like a humanoid creature.
Mm.
And it kind of
Wait,
moves
From
Can
behind
you see
us
it
or
clearly?
ahead of us?
Yeah, can
No,
you see
it's like
clearly, too?
it's still kind of dark because of the canopy,
Yeah.
but you can see it. It's coming at you. It moves kind of slowly. It's about. It looks like it's about or not Orientus. Thelnier size.
Oh.
And it just is kind of.
How
Lum-
far off?
You guys spot it like 60 feet away,
Oh no.
and as it comes,
Hakku do like a flyby hit and run.
Hakku runs to it, punches it in the face.
I haven't
You have
seen
dark
it. You guys
vision.
haven't said anything.
You have dark vision. What is it?
I do have dark vision, but do
And
I
it's
see
eye
what
height
it
with
is
you,
from this
apparently.
distance?
Yeah, I height with Thelnier, and Thelnier has the vision to see it.
As it's
Does he see
Yeah.
anything extra? Can you actually make out what it is?
as it's moving towards you, you look at it, and it's kind of hunched over a little bit. You can't. It's definitely not human. Or if it was, it's gone through some really like gross transformation. But eventually it does like get closer to you. You can make out it. It's like this mass of mushroom that's kind of like taken form of a person.
Huh.
And it's just waddling towards
Yeah,
us.
burn it.
Yeah, and it's just one. It's just one.
It's Kevar.
Just one?
Yeah.
No.
Hakku shouts, "You speak English!"
Does it react?
It doesn't say anything back.
Does it stop? Does it keep
It does.
moving?
It does appear to like acknowledge Hakku as like it turns in Haku's direction.
I'm guessing he doesn't understand thieves can't, so...
Can I try and mind link with it now that I can see it?
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's possible.
What is it? What is it thinking? What is it saying? What is it feeling? I'll try to introduce myself. Happy thoughts. Happy thoughts.
Non-threatening thoughts.
So what are you doing? So you mind link with it and you're sending it happy thoughts, or you?
Yes, be like puppies.
Yeah, I'll
kittens.
send it. I'll send it happy thoughts.
Yeah. Rainbows.
It sends you. It sends you in return like it appears it doesn't want to fight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a very good thing. I like that.
I mean, if it doesn't want to fight, just let it walk on.
It does
Ignore it.
appear to have interest in your group though.
Okay.
Oh. All right.
Of course,
Well, I'll
everybody's
tell everyone
interested in
it doesn't want to fight. It just
You wanna
seems to
fight?
be interested. Can I like walk up to it and just like examine him?
Give it a head pat.
Yeah, no weapons drawn. Walk up to him.
Yeah, no. I mean, my fists
You
are
said
weapons,
it's
but
covered in mushrooms, or it is a giant mushroom?
It appears to be like a mass of
Massive
like
mushroom.
fungus. It's got like
Yeah, I don't
looks
know
like
if
it's-
it's a good idea to get near that.
it's got like this
Well, it's Saru doing it, so I'm okay with it. Go ahead.
yeah it's
Okay,
got
so
like
you
this
go and
weird
get
like
infected or something.
fungal muscly growth kind of.
So it's not like a myconid.
It kind of is if you think of a myconid that is also just covered in mushrooms on top of being a mushroom itself.
Hmm.
Okay.
There's mushrooms on mushrooms on mushrooms.
It's a
Yeah.
mushroom
Yeah,
infested
I'm
with a
not going
mushroom.
to get anywhere
It's-
near that.
It's like it's got
Well,
like these
me
weird.
and Saru approach.
It's got like these weird like growths kind of growing on it that give it more mass. And it's definitely slimy and damp.
Oh,
And as Dyabie or as Saru gets closer to it, it like turns to him. You can get pretty close to it.
yeah. Me and Saru are approaching.
Because it's moving really slow, right? So,
Yeah.
Like,
He's just out for a morning stroll.
alright.
And as you get up to it, like as everybody else can see that there's like it suddenly like explodes into this like weird puff of spores.
Alright,
As Saru gets
I
close to
knew
it.
I knew it. That's
Uh,
why.
I shout to kill. Kill.
Kill. So,
Yeah,
Saru, nothing
Okay, fine.
nothing appears to happen to you other than you like may cough up like a bunch of going into an area that's just thick with smoke or something like that.
It doesn't appear to
And
be
now I'm allergic
poisonous.
to spores.
Yeah, and as you do so, you can hear its voice in your mind on top of your mind link.
That's how it talks.
Wait, on top of the mind link. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh man, are we
say?
getting out of the abyss all of a sudden? Oh wow, I've shared
Uh,
my spores with you.
It says, "I want to talk to you and your friends."
Oh. That's fucking scary! The way that toaster just fucking depicted it, like in my head, I'm just like picturing mushroom just I want to talk to your friends.
Yeah.
I assume Will is like immune to it, right? Because robot.
Well,
Am I immune to it?
are you close enough to get?
Yeah, no, he went up.
I said like 3 times. I was going with Saru.
Oh, then yes, you also hear this.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Huh.
Alright, I'll just say, well, sure. Well, what did you want to talk about?
What happened last night? I want to apologize.
Oh.
Apologize. Were those creatures part of you? Part of your
Part of me.
entourage? I don't know.
Yes.
Part of you. Did us killing it hurt you?
No.
Okay,
Oh.
that's good.
When they were alive, did they try to hurt you?
No.
Wait.
Did you just find
Take-
the bodies?
Take me to your friends.
Can I don't know. Can I
insight?
incite the voice in my head?
Yeah, you can. I
What's
mean,
inside?
it's like it's looking at you. It speaks to you, but it doesn't have like
Yeah.
any moving parts.
Yeah.
I rolled a 19 after modifiers.
Yeah. 15.
It speaks with genuine curiosity. Like it doesn't seem.
So it doesn't seem to have ill intent.
Yeah. Or at least it doesn't seem like it's threatening.
What's your name?
My name. I don't have one.
Let's call him Shroomy. Can we name him?
Alright, well,
Call
yeah,
Spoly
we'll...
Shroom boy.
Polyspore.
Oh wait. Polyspore. That's good.
Alright, yeah, well,
Wow.
I'll bring them back. Probably keep them away from the villagers though, so it's just us.
All right.
Yeah.
So you take them to the trucks and make sure that you keep them away from the villagers.
Is he gross to look at? Like,
Yeah, he's pretty gross to look at. He like
gross. Oh, yeah.
I
as
don't judge.
don't-
There's all kinds of
I
different
mean-
people out there.
I mean, since you guys are real close, you can inspect. There's like, yeah, it appears to be about Thelnier size. It like
Is there any semblance of being like a I mean, you say human, but like dwarf or yeah, like
It's wearing-
It's like
entirely
mushroom
fungus.
in
It's-
human shape, right?
it's wearing like some really tattered clothing on it. Like as you're examining it, it's like
It is,
maybe
like, somewhat civilized.
it doesn't look
Are you
like
drawing it?
Yeah.
it doesn't
Polyspore. Wow.
it doesn't look like it like found clothes and attempted to wear it. It's like the clothes,
If he was a humanoid, it was a long, long time ago.
yeah, something like
Yeah.
that. Like
The clothes were
the-
incidental.
yeah.
Showing us a picture.
So yeah, you bring him
Yeah,
back to
well-
the trucks. The villagers like do see him, like he as you guys like bring him into the light. They kind of are wary and
Just
on
sort of, like,
guard.
wave him, you know,
Yeah.
back up. I don't know what the hell this thing is.
Polyspore coming through.
Polyspore.
As you go, so
that is its name now. That is its name.
it does
Yes.
it does puff
100%.
everybody else. Unless somebody is like, I don't want any part of that.
Yeah,
I imagine a lot of people
no,
probably-
thank you.
Yeah.
They'll
It seems to be how it communicates. You know, it's not poisonous. Or,
also
I
on
mean,
top
it's kind of funny for me to say it's not poisonous because I'm immune to poison, but
on top of that, those
Saru's not poisoned.
those who are affected can also communicate with each other telepathically.
Wait, what?
That's handy.
Hold
Yeah,
up.
this-
Fire.
That's
the
tight.
best thing that could have happened to all of you. Haku's
Wait.
thoughts are wonderful.
Yeah. It's like the thing in The Simpsons where it zooms into his head. It's like meow 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 meow.
Anyway, so who is intentionally not getting puffed?
I mean, we probably don't let the villagers, but everybody.
Yeah, that's what I said. Keep them away from the villages. But how big of a distance is the path? So like a
It's like a
5-foot radius
it's like
around
a
him, or 10 foot.
10 foot.
Yes.
Burning. Destruction.
Oh, yeah, we're here to talk.
Yeah, so as you all get in, you all get puffed, and you guys can hear each other's thoughts. And it's
Getting high and just thinking we can hear each other's thoughts.
yeah, it's a little strange at first, like having this sensation where like you're literally communing with each other. And it tells you
Metal Man has not made breakfast yet. Maybe Hakku can convince to make mushroom stew.
last night I found you. My limbs. This is good news.
What's good news?
Your limbs?
You helped me.
With what?
Tree limbs? Is that what you mean? Limbs?
Fire. Honest burn.
I think maybe those things were his limbs.
What do you desire? What is your goal?
Burn stuff.
God,
go home.
money and gas?
Go, money.
Yeah.
To stop the
Yeah,
Dultonians?
to go home.
Go home. Return home obstructed by others.
Yes.
Yes.
Anime Nazis.
I have to defeat
anime
the
Nazis.
Dultonians. We have to stop the Dultonians!
Yeah.
As I say to him, yeah, you seen that one episode of
So he says, Dultonians, invaders.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know him. You've met a couple.
Yes.
I try to draw the Mushroom Man from Yu-Gi-Oh! but altered.
I want
he doesn't have feet though.
I
Oh,
want
fuck, right.
more limbs.
Yeah. So
Some-
those things last night he calls his limbs.
Something
Why did your limbs attack us?
they don't know. They feel. They collect more limbs.
I mean, I saw a bunch of bodies yesterday. Were the ones that were near the truck? Were those the ones that
No,
attacked
they weren't
us?
near the truck. They were just on the side of the road when we had a quick stop.
That was earlier.
No.
though.
Yeah.
Right?
There was way earlier where there was some
But,
trees chopped down and there was heaps of
but
them all
this-
over the place.
This truck, I thought I saw bodies too, didn't I?
Were there? I
The
can't
first-
remember.
Yeah, there were bodies on the other. You're talking about on the other side of the tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Hakku
Were they
would point
bodies?
out those.
Yeah, there were bodies that were lying around the truck.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh well, yeah. Hakku mentions those.
yeah,
ones.
you mentioned those, and he looks, and then he begins to walk over in that direction where the bodies are.
Keep a wide berth around the.
Yeah, the villagers
not
make
so
sure.
that- yeah.
Yeah, the villagers make
Yeah.
sure that they're like. Yeah, and he goes over.
Yep.
And this this creature kind of leans over and he touches like one of the dead bodies, and you can see like these strange what appear to be like insects like come out of his arm.
Ew.
And they begin to kind of swarm the body, and then he kind of gets back up and he walks over to you and he says, "More limbs."
God. What are you gonna do with all
Do you
these
have
limbs?
control over the limbs?
Control, yes. Sight,
What is your
No.
purpose with all these limbs? What are you trying to do with them?
spread.
Trying to start an army? Okay, you only want to spread.
I help you fight Dultonians.
With Dultonians.
Well, yeah, like if he's got those zombie things like next to you and me, they can puff the spores and hurt Dultonians, but they don't hurt us.
Wait,
Can he make like a small portable one he puts on my back and it just pops up every now and then?
just little like spore generators that you just go around and you're just like,
Yeah.
take that, Dultonians.
Yeah, can we find like a baby he can infect?
oh Jesus!
God.
We're
He
gonna get a baby.
he says
We're gonna get a dead baby.
Man.
Yeah, no, that's Jesse talking.
he says those wander in forest I create into limbs, but something obstructs my goal. Another
What obstructs your goal?
another entity. The forest.
Another natural entity.
Like you? A thing like you?
Not
The two of
like
you?
not like me. Something older.
Older? Oh no, it's an old god.
A creature, spirit.
If he's talking to us telepathically, can he, like sort
Like,
of
Just give us the
envision
image
it? Like,
Yeah,
like describe it as,
It-
as an image
it's
in
that's actually how he communicates. Like, it's like
it's not talking. It's
yeah.
sort of like simple.
you guys aren't like
emotions and
communicating.
images and stuff.
Yeah, you guys aren't communicating through some kind of language. Like, it's literally
Yeah.
imagery and
And so
emotions. And,
Hakku's just got like a bowl of mushroom soup in his head. That's it.
but yeah, you do get this like
And you experience the emotion of like
You-
hunger.
you get this familiarity of what he's talking about. Like, you recall the fight with the tree thing, and this is kind of what he's thinking. There appears to be
He's
another
referring to the
Yeah.
the sticky one or the viney one.
the sticky, well,
The
both
one that
actually.
Ate Hakku? The one that ate
Oh,
Hakku?
both.
Yeah, and he
Yeah,
says
both.
he says this spirit prevents creation of new limbs, stops people from coming into the forest.
That does seem like a problem. Are they
Just-
doing it intentionally to stop you, or
Yes.
Can you leave the forest? Are you tied to the forest?
Forest is my home now.
Was it always?
Cannot leave. Can only spread.
can't or won't?
No place suitable for living.
No place suitable.
This place
assume-
suitable
yeah.
for spreading. Can spread. And as he does so, you get this feeling that like he kind of sees it as like when he says spread and limbs and stuff like that, you get this impression that he's talking, or you feel like he's getting this thing where like he's kind of like a central mind, and he just kind of absorbs everything around him.
So he's
and-
the elder brain.
Yeah, and you kind of get this feeling that he wants to spread his influence outside of the forest, but he can't leave the forest.
He needs more limbs to be able to.
I guess
I see.
Hakku would question if that's a good thing, because that's basically what the Dultonians have done, is they've spread their influence fucking everywhere.
As you think like Haku's like Hakku
Think
thinks
like it's similar to Dultonians.
Hakku thinks it's a bad idea. He's like, Dultonians pervert nature. I
Isn't it?
bring death to Dultonians. Turn into my limbs. Correct.
Okay,
Only
Haku's cool with
Dultonians?
this.
But only Dultonians?
As
You're not gonna-
as you think only Dultonians, you get this feeling that while he is saying like Dultonians, because you get this thing where actually roll insight.
Okay. Right. Well,
Oh,
I
no.
mean nothing.
Yeah, he says he says like Dultonians. There's like the imagery of like him turning Dultonians like
But he could just be racist and not be able to tell the difference.
like the Dultonians like in his mind you get this vision of like them in like in all this like iron, and then the iron like eroding away, and then they become the thing that fought you. But you're not quite sure if he means just Dultonians or not, but he does seem to be saying that like he wants your help, and if it's the Dultonians that are stopping you, then he's willing to fight alongside you, or at least have his limbs help you.
Interesting.
Sort of like just negotiation, really. You know, like he just wants, he'll help us, but we got to give him the bodies.
All right.
Which I'm very much not okay with, to be honest. Because like I already established that they are undead.
Oh.
Hakku,
Yeah.
I made you
They're-
some mushroom stew.
They're definitely reanimated.
It's like a taco bowl.
They're definitely
Round-
they're definitely reanimated. Just it doesn't appear to be some form of like magical reanimation.
I don't know. Like, just asking in general, that in divine sense, does it matter? You know, like is magical reanimation different from natural reanimation in the eyes of a paladin?
The whole thing about undeath, like it doesn't matter if it's magical or not. It's like these people died. They weren't like buried or passed on, and now their bodies have basically come back. It is an insult to
I mean, again, this is not unlike the Dultonians and their ultimate goal, which makes Hakku kind of weary.
Well, okay. Do you guys think these thoughts like out loud? I don't know how to.
yeah.
Well,
It's
like I was
doesn't have a
asking
filter.
outside of the game if it matters, you know.
yeah.
I just have
Yeah, but yes. So it doesn't matter how they're come back to life. They've basically been reanimated, and it's still to you it's the same.
The bodies are effectively desecrated.
Yeah. More or less.
Well, yeah, I
Imagine-
guess I'm thinking of like not happy with the situation.
it like senses your thoughts because you guys are all
Yeah.
having these like weird like communion moments where it's not just talking, like you're literally sharing experiences and
I mean, we're
opinions.
probably talking and thinking at the same time,
Yeah.
so it's like it's.
So it looks at you and it says, natural. The way that it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
Naturally balanced.
natural.
It appears to be trying to
And he
convince you
means-
that basically it's not a necromancer.
But why is the forest trying to oppose you?
The forest also dislike in a word, basically player races. So it thinks of like Dultonians. It thinks of all the Elysians that live here. Basically anything human or dwarf or all that.
Just something that's not tree.
Yeah. It says it also harbors hatred. They chop down trees. Lately, these Dultonians harvest wood. Too much wood. Forests fight back. They hide the bodies.
Dultonians in the forest. Do you know?
I cannot see. My limbs, if they find, they kill, they bring to me.
Oh.
But is there any, like, are they coming from outside the forest, or is there any sort of, I mean, civilization, like man-made
Yes.
area where they are?
Outside. They come from outside.
Right, this way or that way?
For
Pointing up and down the road.
all directions. Forest.
All directions. Oh, even that way.
Forest tries to heal. Expand.
Yeah. I was about to say, because we noticed that the forest had rapidly expanded.
But
Why don't you work together with the forest?
Yeah.
the forest, it doesn't agree with my residency here. But we are of the same kind. Natural.
Is there some sort of roll to see if I'm convinced it's the natural order or something like that? 'Cause
Yeah, go ahead and make
I'm
an
somewhat conflicted.
Make an insight check.
Okay, yeah, I'm pretty convinced.
There are a lot of like themes of life and death that are like racing through your mind from it. Every time it speaks of the forest, there is a theme of like renewal. Like it talks about like expanding, and you can see like trees overtaking the country and stuff like that. But
'Cause
whenever
I mean, when a forest burns down, there's you always see like way more light sprout from after it. So that's what I'm thinking. Like
it's kind
the
of
person's died and more life is coming out of it. So it is in a way sort of like the natural order.
it definitely is like that. And when it speaks of the forest, it definitely gives you that feeling. But whenever it talks about itself, it seems to always refer to the process of decay.
Decay, yeah. How many limbs do you have?
Many, but not enough.
This is a leggy boy.
They
Leggy boy.
in past, Dultonians come, they harvest wood. Forests fight back lots of bodies.
Harvest them.
I collect limbs.
Mm.
Forest senses this. Next time.
So it seems like it's kind of like a power struggle. Like the forest doesn't want him to get too many limbs.
I
can understand that. It's pretty creepy.
it says I want to join forces with Forest, but Forest does not agree. Forest has become obstacle. And when it says that, it appears to be referring to like the spirit or some kind of other entity that represents the forest.
Like a boss kind of a thing, not the forest in general.
Yeah, it obviously cannot live without the forest, as you kind of gathered. Like the forest makes it its home, and it fears that if it's ever ejected out of the forest, that it won't survive. But at the same time, the spirit of this forest appears to be preventing it from achieving its goals. So it wants you to.
They're at conflict with values.
Yeah. It appears like you get this impression that
Are we supposed to kill the other forest spirits, or are we just supposed to like?
Yeah, what? Yeah, asking it sort of what it's.
Because we can kill. I don't know if we can convince the forest to like,
Not to mention, we still have all our villagers. I mean, we might have to go and like leave the villagers and then come back, unless we want to take them.
Like Maellon's asking its goal is: does it just want us to help it get limbs, or does it want us to help it fight the forest like actively?
So it seems to kind of get this thing where like it can get the limbs itself as it is as you're getting these thoughts.
Okay.
It appears that what is happening, or at least what you gather from what it's saying, is that the forest is defending itself, which you guys have experienced firsthand.
Mm-hmm.
But it is like destroying the bodies or getting rid of the body somehow to prevent it from creating more limbs. Basically he says like the forest has kind of created a fortress around itself to prevent people from coming in. But he wants to remove that layer of protection so people can come in, so he can collect more limbs.
I mean, letting people into the forest in general is a good idea because, people need wood. Is this the only sort of major
like he
forest
wants to
around?
actively kill them, and
Yeah.
he's not going to necessarily discern just Dultonians.
Yeah.
Where is this entity? Where is this thing that is holding you
Forest?
back?
I do not know.
Can
You
we
must
name the forest Shadow?
Forest Shadow.
Polyspore.
Forest Shadow. So yeah, it says it doesn't know. It moves within forest. It has own limbs.
Oh.
What does it look like?
Once a man,
Once.
I'll like
one
I'll
is
like
in-
project it. I'll project like the image of like that thing we fought earlier that I tried to like.
No,
Tree
that
with the-
hostile.
that is its limbs.
Imagine
Now,
it's
have you
also,
got
like-
your own truck, or because we're kind of full here, you know?
It's
Can it reanimate the truck on the other side?
no, it can move. It can move the truck out of the way as you think this thought, and it responds. But as you see, it involves summoning a lot of his limbs to this location.
Oh, so he's basically summoning it. He needs to summon an army to push it out of the way.
Yeah.
I guess like while we've been having this conversation, is the tree separated, or I assume it would have probably stopped so they can, just in case, because he did move
Wait,
towards that way.
Hey, look,
Yeah.
can I ask him if he can like finish the? Because he probably has more limbs than we have villagers. He's get like all his limbs to like push the tree out of the way.
I mean, the tree's not that big of an issue for us. It was just a couple hours.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah.
I mean, you think this. You think this as you're talking about it, like pushing the tree out of the way, and again, you get this vision of just like swarms of these kind of mushroomy Dultonian corpses coming to this location to do so.
They think like Resident Evil, where they all sort of like mound on top of each other to make the big pyramid.
Okay, well.
I mean, I guess we can. Does anyone have any other misgivings? I mean, I've already failed my misgiving.
Well, I mean, I agree with the fact that the whole getting rid of the Dultonians, but I don't want to fucking slaughter all of these Dultonians. I mean, they're still people.
We have
they're
been
just, they're just
slaughtering them anyway.
assholes. I mean, you guys, I haven't
He
killed a single Dultonian.
as you do this, you get this vision in your mind where he tells you, he's like, you don't have to kill Dultonians. I will kill Dultonians. Make limbs.
That's not okay.
Yeah, so you
This-
just knock him out and then he'll kill him. That way you're guilt free, easy.
He says, this helps you. Helps you return. Helps you return home.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm against killing, but like I understand that it is a part of like the natural. It's in my description. It's I know it's a part of the natural way of how the world works. Like death isn't something that is absolutely avoidable. It's going to happen, but I won't actively
You've got less
participate in it.
misgivings about it because my thing is directly related to undeath. So
Yeah. It is perverting life and death, but also at the same time, it does give you like these images that like it will fight the Dultonians for you.
does is. I
Does it
suppose,
actually
do the-
understand the difference between Dultonians and the other races, though? Because
We're just
obviously,
telling the particular skin color.
Make an
Well,
insight check.
Okay, wait, hold on.
obviously, he says the forest will just kill fucking anybody, and that's a problem if he thinks the same way.
Yeah, can I project two images of two people and be like, which was the
I
Dultonian?
crit.
Hell
Yes.
yeah.
You had this keen understanding that it is saying Dultonians because you're saying Dultonians, but it appears to be referring to just people in general.
Yeah, see, that's a problem.
Yeah, no. That's a problem.
It seems to it doesn't like project like women and children in the streets and stuff like that, but it does project
I
like
don't know if I got my
soldiers,
link
but
or
it isn't able
So you
to
didn't want to,
discern
huh?
which side the soldiers are on. It
I
just
guess
sees
I'm
like
minding. I'm just sitting
soldiers
Sees a
just-
corpse and that, hey, that's mine.
yeah, basically.
Well, it sounds to me like he doesn't want to take just corpses. He wants to actively take alive people. which is my problem.
Is that true?
It doesn't want to take like it the living persons, like it doesn't want to like just capture people. Anytime it thinks of people, it always thinks of stages of death, but not
So
like
if you got some strapping young men come in on a car, they chop down some trees. Is he like licking his lips at that, or
he
He doesn't have lips.
no
Have you checked?
to him, like living
Hakku's inspecting very hard.
living people seems unattractive to him, like as you like project this. But I mean, obviously he has to create limbs as he has been telling you, which does for him involve like dead people.
I guess
so
if he's
so
not
far
actively killing people in order to create limbs, then Hakku
I mean, he did say that
is less.
if you help him, he will fight the Dultonians for you, which does result in creating limbs. But again, he's saying Dultonians because you're saying Dultonians.
But in general, he just will take anything.
Attack people.
So if one of
basically,
us
Ariantis
falls
would
on the
be
battlefield,
human and
he's like yum
approach
yum yum.
Yeah.
It appears to be like in the past, as he thinks of the way that it used to be. Like he would not do the killing himself. Like the Force would kill, and usually against like people that
But he's
appear
being driven into a corner at the moment.
yeah, because the Force. So as he like thinks of the way.
He's a scavenger of sorts.
Yeah. So when somebody enters the forest and they do harm to the forest responds back, and as a result kills the person, and then he comes and he takes the body.
Yoink.
But something has happened where the forest is not allowing him to take the bodies, and that's why he wants you to, as you think of like, can we talk to it? It agrees that the best solution is for the forest to just simply join the plan.
Allow him. Yeah.
But he believes that the forest is being unreasonable and may have to be the spirit of the forest may need to be destroyed.
Dude, plant drama. Oh my god.
But it used to also be a man, which is strange.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that's about.
Is he able to basically like give us a map of the forest, like a layout of
Oh.
yeah, like in our heads, like he lives in it, so he's got to know sort of like the
Yeah,
boundaries.
he can.
and
It's
rivers, any landmarks.
it's like it's overwhelming. It's just kind
So
of
expansive.
yeah. It's just millions of images of like different locations in the forest that you have to piece together.
It's like a diary of 100 years.
Yeah,
of,
yeah.
Like, I seen this bug here, and this one was over there. It was green.
Yeah. And you see a lot of places where like they come across, and it's not just like people who've done wrong to the forest and dying. You also see like a lot of people who like come into the forest, get lost, and then die, or they get attacked by an animal and die, or they succumb to disease and die. Lots of dying from like the natural world. But anytime it sees it regards it as like a beautiful thing.
Oh my god.
Does it?
Why do
Does
we
it,
keep
like,
running across people like Ariantis?
Does it? Like, if I step, say, like 5-10 feet away, does the mind control stop, or because I breathed it in, it's an extended range?
You step away. You're about 20 feet from it. It does appear to be still working.
Still working.
How do we turn this off?
I just sort of think, is this permanent?
As you think that, it thinks it says think. think of it as us combining or intermingling.
Oh no, we're becoming
I
limbs.
think I think Hakku is probably
It sees it like, so how it sees it is like it's giving you a part of its body.
information sharing.
Yeah. Yeah, because I wanted to talk to Jonathan, but I don't want the mate to
to
be
know.
listening in.
I think Hakku is maybe okay with helping it, but only after we've helped the villagers get out. I'm guessing this thing is not on a
Out
time
of the
constraint.
forest itself.
Yeah, because the forest wants to kill anybody that comes inside.
It looks over to the villagers as you were thinking about the villagers, and it
Yeah,
says,
can we like whitelist these people?
it says so long as you are in forest, your friends are in danger.
Exactly. So Hakku is okay with helping, but only after we do what we want to do, which is get the villagers to safety.
Let's get out of the forest and then let them loose like on the
Go.
towards the Dultonians. Like spread that way. It's like we're gonna go this way. You guys go this way, and then.
No.
Well,
No?
So is that like is he have misgivings about us waiting until we've got our friends out of the forest before we come back in to assist?
It doesn't have misgivings. Like if you need to get,
I mean, Hakku is straightforward with what.
yeah,
he
if
desires,
you need,
so-
it sees like if you need to get get the villagers out, then it doesn't have any problems, but it wants you to help it anyway.
Yeah. So how
See, I'll tell you
far in
what.
or out of the forest are we? Like, are we like smack bang in the middle, or?
It tells you that it would be faster, or well, from the images, it would be faster just to go back the way you came than to continue on.
So we're not even halfway.
Well, it does.
But-
It's not that it's halfway. It just sees it as like there's more obstruction up ahead.
Okay.
And it also kind of adds on that as you're all thinking of like coming up with plans to get the villagers out, it also conveys thoughts of like trying to help out by having his limbs like hold back whatever might attack them. But as he,
we're gonna have to end up fighting the forest anyway. So
we're just sort of wondering what to do with the people at the moment.
as it thinks this, it also seems to recognize that the forest, limbs are a lot stronger than his limbs. So
Individually,
yeah,
obviously.
he possesses a great number of limbs, but the forest limbs, as he keeps referring it to, are a lot stronger.
Yeah, I mean, we've experienced that. He would potentially have numbers, but they've got individuals.
Numbers and strength.
It's like the fucking ants, the colonies that I've been watching.
Oh. Yeah.
The ants.
You've got ants that are like individually strong, but then you've got the colony that's just like, we make thousands of babies a minute, and then they just swarm by sheer numbers.
What's Cable been doing this
I
whole
don't-
time? He's just been munching on a rash and just watching the whole thing happen.
He seems a little stressed.
All right. I guess I gotta talk to him and say, like this.
Well, I don't think
'Cause
turning
he has-
around
he
is
has
a
a-
good idea.
Yeah, you don't think?
Well, I mean, the closest place is What, the one? Hey, we should ask if he's seen Bicycle
The
Girl.
secretary. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, you seen a bicycle come through here lately?
You get you get visions.
Hakku
And then
thinks
just, like-
real hard about the girl's face,
Alright,
and
No, no,
then like
you-
I guess he
no, you
just
should-
imagines the bicycle.
No, it should be like a really hard depth of feel around her breasts.
he recalls, as he thinks back, he recalls seeing somebody like that, but he doesn't know
Wait.
if they completely passed through the forest or not.
Oh shit.
He suggests that
I don't really know why we'd be chasing her down. Like I don't know why she's running.
We
But
left,
she's
we left
just
that
sort of like an
town.
incidental thing, you know?
Yeah.
she
I think it'd be
as
funny to meet up with her again.
as he communicates, it appears that it's entirely possible that the forest may have caught her, and
Heck.
like it has been doing, has like destroyed the body or is taking the body somewhere.
Well, maybe she shouldn't have freaking ran away, but okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Biked away.
Between
Like pedaled away.
between the town and the forest, how long was that? That was like 3 or 4 days, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was sometime.
Oh god.
And I'll just tell the mushroom man, and I'll be like, hey, you know, if we can get these villagers to safety, we can come back and see if maybe we can communicate with the forest as well and see if we can get all of us to work together. That'd be the best outcome.
Yeah, as you do this, it definitely like as you like agree together, it seems to want that. It's
Okay.
make an insight check, Dyabie.
Wow.
Did a nat 20.
19.
15.
It's pretty good.
Yeah,
Ooh,
as
Plus
hella
4.
it definitely wants that, but you get the feeling that it's more of it wants the forest to. It's not like a partner relationship.
Submit.
Yeah, that's kind of what it wants. It wants the forest to basically do like work in the benefit of him.
Which makes sense. Like
Yeah.
he seems like not maliciously selfish, you know?
Well, again, if he's not the one doing the killing and the forest likes to kill indiscriminately, is that a problem? Because he did say that the forest just kills anything.
Yeah.
He doesn't,
assume
it
you-
doesn't like any player race.
You would rather it go back to the way it was, where the forest would protect itself, and then you'd be able to take the bodies before it was destroying them.
Yes, the way it was.
Are you able to, like, if we destroy his limbs, are you able to take his limbs?
No.
I mean, I guess
Well, so what? Yeah, so...
if we can somehow find a way to set it back to the way it was,
When
that's not too bad. It's like he's not taking over. He's not becoming like the Dultonians.
when you think
No.
when you mention limbs, like taking his limbs, you get this imagery feeling where he can only make limbs out of dead creatures.
Does that mean he has like zombie deer and stuff around the forest?
Yes.
Oh my god! It's annihilation.
Sick.
But obviously they're not just zombie deer. They're covered in patches of fungus, mold, and
Yeah, like the bear in Annihilation.
T-Rex?
Terrifying.
T-Rex.
But
What?
I don't know about the T-Rex in this forest.
Yeah.
Wait, bear? What bear? You ran into a bear?
No, in
Nice.
Annihilation, there's like these weird. There's several instances of the people running into creatures, but they're like zombified and covered in like flowers and moss.
Oh, you
There's
mean the
also a
trickster god?
crocodile.
Little bear thing.
Alright, well, yeah, I just want to explain the cable, so that the things that it's been saying, like that. I've got misgivings about the whole situation, but it just seems like the natural state of the forest has been sort of upset, possibly by the Dultonians. So.
Okay, so do you leave him, by the way, the mushroom guy?
I mean, well, however far away Cable is,
Yeah.
if he's, say
Well,
20,
yeah,
30 feet away.
So you kind of just move away from him, I guess, and and you all of you just start talking like you guys have a group huddle with Cable, Zesu, and brother Jonathan.
I mean, I guess yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I already told the mushroom like we will. I mean, I don't mind coming back to help him, but we gotta make sure we ensure the safety of the villagers.
Yeah, Hakku also already agreed to this.
It sympathizes with what you want to do.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
we might be fucking the whole world up, but that's whatever.
The other issue is fuel. I don't think we've got enough fuel to go back to the start of the forest and then go through again.
It does also
Yeah.
suggest that like you could leave your people here and it could bring all its limbs to try to protect it while you're busy completing this task. But
Hell no!
Yeah.
He already said that while they're here, they're in danger.
yeah, but you guys
I mean,
also have
I guess I can ask him if there's more trucks along the way that we can keep taking gas from.
there are definitely some places where like vehicles have broken down, especially as a result of being attacked. But he doesn't understand. Like he understands the
He probably
concept.
just doesn't understand the fuel.
Yeah,
you
he understands that it's some kind of driving force, but he doesn't understand the concept of fuel.
I mean, he
that's
doesn't
okay.
need to know that. I just want to know if there's
yeah.
more cars along the way. They're like rest stops.
It's like, like the
I'm guessing
Tesla
he's-
charging
what-
stations. You just drop by, charge up a little bit, and then keep going.
Yeah. Okay, well, if you guys are going to talk to Cable and them, go for it.
Yeah.
I'm okay with
I
it.
I definitely want to get their opinion, especially Cable, like what the fuel situation's like. What?
Can we make it through the forest? And
Yeah.
Hey, what are you doing?
Oh, I have my eyes closed.
I think going back, even if it's shorter, is not the right course of action.
Yeah.
Like that.
I closed
The
my eyes.
closest
I
city
was just messing
is
with my
probably
controllers.
crawling with Dultonians, and
I
it
thought you were trying to
just
start a
seems like
fight
a
or something.
dangerous
I suppose in a
situation.
sense the villagers are probably safe from the Dultonians
Like,
because
I
the
opened my eyes and all I
Dultonians get
saw
attacked
was
as soon as they
abs. I
get
was
in.
like, oh shit.
I don't know.
It does.
They've already been captured once, obviously, to be like
What?
Dultonian slaves or something.
It does.
That's why they're here in the first place.
It does seem to suggest that while the villagers are in the forest, they're safe from Dultonians. They're just not safe from the forest.
Yeah.
So
No, we're talking about they wouldn't be safe from the Dultonians if we backtracked to Cool Mine.
Yeah.
So it'd probably be
Yeah.
best
So
to
if
just
they're
track
out of the
up
forest, they might not be safe. They might be safe from the forest, but they might not be safe from the Dultonians. Whereas in the forest, they might be safe from the Dultonians, but might not be safe from the forest.
Let's just power through.
Do it.
Yeah, that's what
We're
I
gonna
think.
keep driving.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that would probably be the best thing to do.
Let's see if we can help
How
along the way
quickly
or something.
how quickly can your limbs come?
Not very fast. I
yeah,
think.
it if you want the limbs to help, he has to start summoning them now. Otherwise, they won't. If you're asking them to like clear out the obstruction up ahead, he's got to start.
Like say say we keep going, and then we want to
I'm
stop.
guessing
How
they're gonna
long can
trail
the limbs
behind.
get there to protect the villagers while we do the thing or whatever we're gonna do?
Oh, okay, I see. There's really no concept of time. Like they're spread all throughout the forest. It just to him, he just sees it as he calls them and they come to him. That's about it.
But and there's still no sort of indication of how many. He can't discern how many.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so I guess what we can ask is the amount that we killed last night, was that a little or a lot?
Yeah,
of their
he
limbs?
sees it as negligible.
Okay, so he's got a lot.
Like a pinky toenail,
Yeah.
not a full limb.
Yeah, he sees it, but
Alright, well,
he's also thinking too, like, you know, once he's able to make more limbs, it doesn't matter how many he loses, he can always make more.
Jesus Christ. He keeps saying things that make me question helping him, but whatever. Hakku's a simple man. He's not thinking that hard about this.
He's just thinking we got a whole bunch of puffy boys to help.
Well, Hakku's just thinking lots of talking, but still hungry.
I mean, I guess I could.
Hunt.
Oh, nah, because
in the forest, right? You can hunt in the forest.
does he understand the
Yeah, I mean, I've already
living
caught
creatures
us a
need
deer,
to eat?
so I think we actually have food. We
Yeah,
just need to cook it.
he recognizes it, he just doesn't recognize what you eat.
Okay, fair enough. Fair.
Small.
Especially considering that like eating involves maybe hunting an animal, but then you destroy the body because you eat it.
Of course, yeah, fair enough. Well, I guess as far as we can go, we can agree to let him come with us, and
Yeah, there's no room in the truck though, so.
what about Jonathan?
Okay,
would
so
he have the same kind of misgivings about undeath as me?
yeah, so you guys have your huddle. So we'll do your huddle now with Zesu, Jonathan, and Cable. And
Oh my god, it's 2 hours talking about whether we're gonna fight a forest or not.
So yes, Jonathan.
I mean, it's a pretty big decision. So.
Jonathan does share your concern. He's like, I don't know about helping this creature that desecrates the body, especially once it's been laid to.
Then I sort of, I guess like I can attempt to persuade him my I don't know, my persuade him what I was persuaded.
Yeah, you tell him the situation, and I mean he does offer you feedback. He's like, yeah, I don't agree with it, but we're at a place where we don't have that much choice. We don't have much choice if the forest is trying to kill us. We need to make sure that the villagers get out of here alive. Also, I don't agree with its methods of reusing Dultonian bodies to fight Dultonians, but we are at war. He seems very uncomfortable with the whole situation, but seems
which I am too.
Yeah,
so.
but seems to trust where you're going, where you're like, you know, even though all this is happening, the best option appears to be helping him. Zesu, kind of as you mentioned it, he doesn't seem all that bothered by the whole undeath thing. Like, obviously, to him, he's like, they're fucking creepy. But having another ally seems to be, you know, the enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of thing. So he's like, he's totally in agreement, but he shares Hakku's concern. where like
My controller scuffs every once in a while.
And
on
he's
some
like, you're
versions.
just like seductively walking towards me.
Yeah, no, it just.
so he
It's like old
shares
controllers and stuff.
Haku's concern where he's like, but how can he tell like who's Dultonian, who's not? Maybe if
Skin
there was
color.
like maybe if there was like
Skin
a
color.
like a way to sit down and help him identify like to Zesu, he's like, yeah, it's easy, it's just that. But
Yeah. Okay, can we get like 3 villages and like, all right, look at these 3, and then we like swap them, like, or say like, all right, look at this one, and then we swap
right.
them around. All right, which one will we point at? I'm not actually doing that.
Cable as you guys have this huddle, Cable is in the mind of while there is a lot of things happening that seem, morally questionable. For him, his first and foremost concern is getting the villagers to safety. He says,
Yep.
if we backtrack and you guys only take, I don't know, a day to handle this task, I think we'll be okay. But if it takes too long, then it might be a better idea just to try to power through. At the very least, with the help of the, do we even know this guy's name?
Polyspore.
Polyspore. If we have I mean, if this Polyspore guy agrees to help, I mean, you guys can handle the task while we power through. Me and Zesu and brother Jonathan. We could probably handle whatever is up ahead if Polyspore keeps up his end of the deal.
And keeping a whole bunch of mates around to protect him.
But like, why even risk the villagers? Like, what? I mean, we should just keep going. I mean,
Yeah.
if there's obstacles, we'll just fucking break more trees down.
I just want to power through.
Burn more trees down.
And then the forest is an asshole and sends like 6 shambling mounds our way.
Well, the forest.
We got
The forest
army of mushroom zombies.
appears to
right?
be your current like enemy, I guess. But
Yeah.
so yeah. And in Cable's
So
mind,
is there a
like as Cable explains, he says that we could handle this in 2 different ways, and he suggests like we can just power through. If Polyspore's got his legion of undead mushroom things on top of Brother Jonathan and Zesu and myself, we should be able to get through the forest. And then if you guys handle the task and he keeps his end of the deal, or like you manage to convince the forest to stop attacking us before we get through the forest, and that also helps us get everybody to safety. It removes the forest as an enemy.
I think if we're off and killing, like forest limbs, you think it would probably send them sort of towards us as a bigger threat rather than just people walking through.
Yeah.
So you're saying that we should part with them now and just entrust the villagers to Cable and them, and then we're just gonna stay in the forest?
We don't have a direction to go. Like, are we just gonna sort of like, while they drive along, we're just gonna like walk at a 90 degree just straight into the forest aimlessly, or?
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the problem. He said he doesn't know where
Yeah.
the entity is.
Yeah.
I mean, the implication is that it does appear to kind of wander about, but you also are aware that unlike his limbs, you did come across one of the forest limbs that forest limbs, as he keeps calling them, are able to communicate. At least Saru's been able to confirm that he is able to mind link
Yeah.
with one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So if we just go in there, we start wrecking shit, and then one pops up, we can like, hey, we're here to destroy your forest.
What the heck?
No.
Well, no, we're trying to make everyone friends. We're trying to make everyone friends.
Yeah. So if we find another one, we say like, take us to your leader.
I can't believe it all comes down to Saru diplomacy. You have to
No, that's not at all.
That's what it's gonna be. We can't mind link with it. We'll just be standing there staring
No,
at
we're
them.
we're using Saru to mind link and then get an audience with the boy.
Wait,
So
can we use Polyspore to like mind link with Saru while Saru is mind linking with? So like we can,
I can
that's
only
possible.
mind link with one thing at a time, and it has to be within 60 feet.
But Polyspore.
Yeah, but it can mind link with
has
you with
the-
the spores.
yeah, can it link with you and then you link with the other thing, so we can all sort of like conference call to the
Conference call. I'm gonna patch someone through. Please hold on. Wait, are you still there? Oh, I didn't connect. Hold on.
Alright. Well,
I guess that could work.
yeah, well, just
Well,
tell
to you,
Polyspore is like, all right, bring your limbs up here, and we'll see what we got to work with.
All right.
So are the villagers and stuff leaving?
Well, when you mention bring your limbs, are you wanting it to have the limbs travel with the villagers, because the limbs do move very slowly?
I mean, I suppose like moving slowly is. Well, he said he's got them all over the forest anyway. But...
Yeah. So he seems to be suggesting that anytime there's an obstacle, he can just summon them to that location. Like, for example, another tree or the road has been, marred or
Wait,
destroyed.
Okay, so we're setting the villagers like off, right? That's
Yeah, it
that's
seems
plan?
so. It seems like we're
Okay,
gonna part
is-
ways.
Is Polyspore coming with us, or is he going with the villagers?
No, let's have Polyspore come with us. Right?
Is he working as the beacon for the limbs, or is he coming with us and he can
he's
just sort of like
I don't think
side thought to send the limbs to our friends?
Yeah, I think he's just commanding them at a distance. So he's gonna be with us, I think.
he can do either. As he mentions, like, he can't see with his limbs. He can only just command them while they're away. He
So
does.
what, give them a general order that if this group is attacked
So
to
how does he
to
know if
protect them?
there's obstacles in the way?
So if he goes with the villagers, he'll be able to see the obstacles immediately. And be able to summon. If he goes with you, he will have to check back, which he does tell you that he does have a way to get through the forest quickly, but only works for him. He has cultured these patches of fungus which allow him to travel within the forest.
That means like he'd have to go and periodically check up.
Yeah.
It seems like it would be
Which
better
doesn't sound
if he
like an
was
option.
He also seems to suggest that the spirit of the forest has something similar.
Yeah, which we've
Oh,
seen
yeah, we
the
saw.
limbs do.
Yeah.
So we should probably just have them stay with them until they're out of the forest, because that's our number one priority.
What I was gonna say was just like, I mean our spots on the truck are gonna be empty. Can we just fill them with like his?
No, I think he's
No
got a lot
way.
more than like 1-for-1 for us. So yeah, he'd probably have like 30 or 40 of his limbs.
But like it's just so like if they get attacked, they immediately have people, and then like more people come out of the forest. Like when
Can the limbs communicate with each other?
He, as you ask that, they don't communicate with
They
each
don't
other.
communicate.
They communicate directly.
Oh, okay.
It's not even that they communicate with them. He issues commands to them.
Yeah.
And then okay.
But how broad is the commands he can issue to them? You
They-
say like if we put one, can the limb alert him if one sees something?
But they don't see.
Yeah, that's the problem.
He tries to describe it in a way that like you can you issue a command to like a finger to do an action when a certain condition is met.
Of course, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. All right. So do we want to
Okay, yeah,
send him with the
just-
villagers?
yeah. If he can make his way back quickly, like when they're out.
And then tell Jonathan don't smoke the good stuff and just keep a good eye on him.
Yeah. Okay.
They So this is your plan, is to go ahead and send them all off. I mean,
I feel kind of
Bye,
Bro-
villagers.
brother Jonathan and Zesu are now kind of like setting up the seats so that they're the ones that are right next to Polyspore, and not the villagers, just in case something happens.
Just like
They
in the on a bench seat on an old car, you got the mum, dad, and the kids squished in the middle.
but they do definitely oppose the idea of having those things in the
Yeah, no, we shouldn't fucking have them in the car. I guess
Or
the
even-
question
like
is,
him in the car, but not the limbs,
just
Yeah.
just him.
just
it's gonna be
him.
just
And
him.
so when something happens, he can call them all to him.
Incidentally, when you guys set this arrangement up, he does spore them both. He spores all three of them.
Ah.
So now
Uh,
you
uh,
guys can hear each other's thoughts.
we went off to talk to Cable and that like without him.
No, I mean when they if you make them travel with each other, he's going to.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, can we ask him not
Well,
to?
Yeah, currently.
You
Do we just sense that he's thinking about it? It's like wait.
but then they
Don't.
have no way of communicating with each other.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, true.
yes, it does see it as
Is this stuff
necessary.
like long distance communications, or
Do you guys have long distance communication spells or a radio?
No.
like with the
Well,
spores, like
how
if they
far-
get a certain distance, will it cut off, or
We-
will
we
they
don't
still
know
go
what the
here
distance
forever?
is.
Yeah, I think the spores stop after a certain distance.
Yeah, it's probably short range, so like 60 feet most. I mean, I suppose I could
now we
ask
have
him, yeah, like how far
walkie-talkies,
before we lose contact with you.
Yeah, it's about 60 feet. Not that he really has a concept
Okay.
of distance, but he kind of
Yeah, but I can
visual.
like point to a tree 60 feet
Yeah.
away. So like if I stood over there, would I still be
He-
able to hear?
He visualizes the distance. He just doesn't tell. He's not like 60 feet, but yeah, it's 60 feet.
You estimate 60 feet after the visualization.
Yeah, exactly.
Huh, okay.
Okay, well.
Well, so is
are
that the
we doing
plan?
this? Is this a good idea?
Is that the
mean,
full hour and a half of
uh,
diplomacy with a mushroom?
Okay. So what is your guys' game plan? You're sending them
Yeah,
off
no.
ahead with.
Yeah,
And then
I
we're gonna
feel
go
so
check on
crappy
and
because
like
we spent all this time trying to like protect the villagers, and now we're just like we're sending you off with just 3 members and a mushroom guy.
Yeah, I mean, I
But-
the
I
mushroom
just
guy's
wanna-
worth like
I-
100 though.
I mean,
I
What
would
did you say,
rather just
Dyabie?
power through. I would rather just power through. Like,
are you?
if we're gonna go and meet the fucking forest king anyway, but we're going to have to run into them eventually if we power through. Why not just kill 2 birds with 1 stone, power through, and
Yeah,
once we meet them,
I
instead of
suppose,
fight them,
yeah.
we can communicate with them.
We could keep going with the rest of everyone until we come across another one that we can communicate with, and then set up the deal to to
And I'll make
discuss.
sure Thelnier doesn't fucking attack it.
So
Yeah,
at the
that
moment,
seems
our
like the
main
way to
problems
go.
are Thelnier attacking people that we don't want to attack, and Saru just talking in general.
Alright, so your plan,
Okay,
your
I don't
What do
have
you
to
mean
talk.
attacking people?
Okay,
we
so
don't want to attack?
I guess we're
It was
gonna
attacking
keep
Hakku.
going with the villagers anyway.
Yeah.
But in the span of us traveling, we'll part ways if we encounter one of the
Yeah,
forest
if we
limbs.
encounter more of the limbs that we can communicate with,
But in the meantime, we'll travel with them so that they're max protected.
alright, are you also
Yeah.
taking Polyspore with you? Or
Yeah,
I mean, it makes
Yeah, we'll
sense
take
that
him with
he's
us.
going to travel with
Okay.
us in the case that we find
and
a limb.
then once we found someone to talk to and we at least find a direction to go, because at the moment we got no idea.
okay, so you guys decide that you're just going to continue on.
Yeah.
Polyspore has no like
Objection.
so long as you help him, he doesn't mind what you guys do.
I mean, again, he doesn't have a concept of time, so.
Yeah.
So do we like I'm just sort of in a game perspective, because he's reading our minds. We basically got like disadvantage trying to lie to him.
No, you can
He's-
still
he's
lie
sick.
to him. You're aware that you're communing with him, but you can
Yeah,
alter your
But like
thoughts.
it's the same as like when you're talking, like your thoughts are more unfiltered than what's coming out of your mouth.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have the mental discipline to block
Okay,
out.
fair enough.
It's the only reason why like a spell like Detect Thoughts would work in that sense is because usually you cast Detect Thoughts without them being aware that you're reading their thoughts.
Okay.
But you're fully aware that you're doing this. It's totally possible for you to fabricate thoughts
Where'd this come from?
and send them.
Oh.
But is it also possible to accidentally believe those thoughts I'm fabricating? Oh, I'm joking.
I mean, that's what a lot of people do. They lie to themselves to the point where they think it's the truth.
Well, I mean, that was basically our answers, you know. Yeah, I knew you'd stop moving.
Okay, so
Yeah,
that
well,
sounds
that's
like
the deal.
a plan.
Power through.
And so next session, you guys will be powering through the forest. This is where we're gonna end this
Next
session.
what
Oh my
plant do we
god,
talk
we
to?
literally haven't moved the whole session!
It's
Wait,
okay.
wait,
No,
Did we long
we
rest?
moved like 15 feet, but
We did
from the
long
truck
rest.
to
We did
him,
long
and then
rest,
back
yeah.
to the truck.
So we got
It's-
some sleeping done.
It's
That's important. We got
Yeah,
some sleeping
yeah,
done.
we had a sleep, yeah.
it's okay because considering the last two sessions were literally just you guys are getting fought in the forest a bunch of times.
And we're going to do that again.
Dragon, what are
Yeah.
you doing?
Yay.
I do think pretty much everything we said was pretty important, so.
I'm gonna go make food.
All right.
Later.
GG.
also,
Diplomacy
did-
successful.
Did Polyspore hear his designation that we've given him?
Yeah, and he seems to have accepted it.
This is my
So,
fate.
I mean, it's as
Okay.
long as he
Polyspore
knows
is my
that
backup
whenever we
character for
say
Team of
Polyspore,
Annihilation now.
Polyspore, Tomb of Annihilation, a mushroom person's gonna show up.
Yeah.
well, he does have multiple spores, so you know.
True. I will actually be playing as one of his limbs.
Should we tell him to not spore
As you guys
Cable
are
and the others?
as you guys are discussing that he goes up to Cable and the others and spores them anyway.
What the fuck?
But what about the villagers? Are just the three of them, or the
That's a
villagers?
hard
as well?
no.
Just
It's
the
a
three
very
of them.
hard no.
Cable's like, what the hell is this shit?
And then all of a sudden he's hearing.
Yeah.
Oh no, I've been poisoned.
Alright, bye guys.
Goodbye.
See you, boys.
Bye.
Alright, we got a hell of a lot done. I'm happy.
Time. Oh, I gotta
It
stop the
became a
stream.
mushroom.
Goodbye.
No, the mushroom became you.
True.
And then Dragon's over here playing mini golf.
Yeah.
Yep.